Hey everybody, welcome back to Vague Ramblings with a sort of rumor mill episode on the possibilities of getting a brand new Blu-ray release of both the Friday 13th films and the Nightmare on Elm Street films. The rumors sort of run the gamut, but for the first time I kind of see a light at the end of a dark tunnel. And that is because Scream Factory has gotten access to a lot of films from both Warner Brothers and Paramount. Now, what does that mean? So let's start with the Friday 13th films. The Friday 13th films started out with the first three films getting Blu-ray releases in the early days of Blu-ray. And then Warner Brothers attained temporary rights to a large amount of Paramount's catalog for a couple of years. And of course, they acquired New Line Cinema several years ago, which meant in 2013, Warner Bros. Released that Friday 13th tin box set that had all of the films. It had all the Paramount films, it had the New Line Cinema films, and even the remake, which is now obviously long out of print because the rights to the Paramount titles have actually gone back to Paramount. Now, in February of this year, Paramount did re-release the first 8 films, the ones actually produced by Paramount, in a new set. Usually you can find them pretty cheap. In fact, Best Buy I know recently had the set for like $20. It was on sale for like $20. So if you miss out on the tin, I mean, you can at least get the Paramount ones for now at a very good price. Though they are all older masters. They're not bad, but they are older. I mean, all those masters were done for the DVDs back in the day, and because they were HD masters, they basically just got re-released. So they're kind of long overdue for new masters to be done, and especially, I'm hoping for Friday 13th Part 3 to actually get a proper 3D release, and not the headache-inducing anaglyph, red, blue stuff. Like, I want an actual Blu-ray 3D release of Part 3. Now, it's probably no secret that Paramount has really never had a love affair with the Friday 13th films. I mean, they were, when the time came, they were pretty quick to sell the Jason rights over to New Line Cinema. Of course, New Line Cinema went on to do Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, and of course the Friday 13th remake. When Warner Brothers had all of those rights under one roof, they did do a nice thing by releasing all of them out in this big set with a lot of the existing extras kind of thing. I think the main issue with that set, outside of the dated masters, which again weren't bad, was the fact that Jason Goes to Hell was not the uncut version. It was the R-rated cut. And I don't know why, but I know one release that was on the Friday the 13th DVD collection set from several years ago had a commentary track for Part 3 that had a lot of the cast members that has not been on any release since. I don't know if there's some weird rights issues or something, which I can't imagine for a commentary track, but I mean, who knows? It hasn't been on any other release. And of course, there was that fantastic documentary, Crystal Lake Memories, that was done and is available on Blu-ray. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend picking that up. Now, Scream Factory for years was trying to gain access to a lot of Paramount titles, and they finally do, which does lead a lot of us to believe that they may actually be able to kind of get a hold of the Friday 13th films and actually do a brand new box set at some point, kind of like what they did with the Halloween films. Hopefully it should be a little easier because Scream Factory obviously also has a relationship now with Warner Brothers and for New Line Cinema through Warner Brothers, so they technically could actually do a whole new box set that has all of the Jason films, again, in a new set, ideally with new transfers, hopefully again with Jason Goes to Hell uncut, and maybe they can get a hold of that commentary track and maybe, add a couple extras in there as well. And again, hopefully Part 3 is proper 3D. That actually is a possibility. A year ago, I probably would have kind of shrugged it off as like, well, that's kind of wishful thinking on our part as far as being fans. But now it actually looks like it could be a possibility. Now, would it come out soon? Probably not. Maybe next year. Maybe even later next year. I would say would probably be the earliest we could see something like that. But the possibility is high. I don't consider it wishful thinking anymore. I actually think it actually could be a possibility, and something that actually would surprise me that Scream Factory actually is trying to do. And another set that Scream Factory actually, I kind of have a feeling might actually even already be a good possibility, even a little more so than the Friday 13th films, is actually doing a new Nightmare on Elm Street box set. And the only reason why I say this is because it really seems like Warner Brothers is more than happy that Scream Factory wants to get a hold of a lot of these new line releases. And the thing is, it doesn't even matter if the films have already been released by Warner Brothers. Case in point is the upcoming release of In the Mouth of Madness, which Warner Brothers put out not that long ago on Blu-ray. And it was a nice looking Blu-ray too. But Scream Factory was able to still get a hold of it, and edition that's coming out very soon, plus a lot of the other New Line Cinema titles that they're going to be releasing, it really actually makes sense that Warner Brothers really has no interest in the Nightmare on Elm Street set. I mean, they released that other set back in 2012. Even though that set is still available, again, that was using older masters, most of which were done for DVD or with DVD in mind. Even though they were HD masters. So a lot of room there for improvement, especially on Dream Warriors, the third one, because, if you go back and watch that Blu-ray, it really wasn't stabilized. There's a lot of kind of shaking a bit that happens. At least I notice it. I don't know. I mean, it's just the kind of thing where it's stuff like that they could fix so easily now. And obviously, the first film, for whatever reason, is missing some minor sound effects and a couple minor music cues. It's like we want the original audio in there intact. And again, there's so many good extras available, but there's also room for improvement. Now, also, much like Crystal Lake Memories, the same team also did a documentary called Never Sleep Again about all of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, and that's fantastic. Again, I recommend picking that up if you haven't already. But the Nightmare on Elm Street films are interesting because I really think Warner Brothers would be more than happy for Scream Factory to get a hold of the Nightmare on Elm Street films and put them out in a brand new box set. Again, I mean, there's a lot of extras already existing, so they wouldn't have to do too many, though. Again, it'd be nice to get like maybe some more commentary tracks and some new interviews with people. Freddy's Dead can have the ending in actual 3D, which would be cool. Nightmare 5 could actually be the uncut version finally. Let's hope. It seems like right now Warner Brothers and Scream Factory have a really, really good relationship. I mean, there's a lot of Warner Brothers titles that are coming out through Scream Factory. I mean, they literally just announced a collector's edition of Trick or Treat, which is coming out, which again is a Warner Brothers produced film. So I think Warner's is more than happy. And honestly, Warner Brothers, because you kind of screwed up a little bit on the release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, that bizarre oval that's present in the transfers, which is very noticeable in night scenes. If you want to hand that over to Scream Factory and let them do a new transfer, I would be very happy, and I would double dip on that one. So is it possible that Scream Factory actually could put out both a new Friday the 13th box set and a Nightmare on Elm Street box set? In my opinion, yes, and I think it's actually very likely it will happen. Now, as far as when, obviously, who's to know? I mean, for all I know, some of that may even already be in the works. If I had to guess, I would say the Nightmare on Elm Street box set would be out before the Friday the 13th box set. So even though, obviously, this is all rumor and speculation, I don't have any insides. I'm just sort of going off some of the rumblings I've sort of heard around, and obviously just watching the way things are getting released, and the possibility of this is just likely. And let's just kind of all keep our fingers crossed, because let's face it, I mean, new box sets of both of those series would be so fantastic. I mean, day one release for me on both of those because I'm such huge. I mean, obviously, look at my shirt. There's Freddy, Jason, big fan, big fan. So just kind of wanted to kind of throw that out there as a possibility. Let me know your thoughts on whether or not you think Scream Factory actually could be putting those out, and also what other series do you think actually could be released, not just by Scream Factory, but by any company that would seem possible. Again, assuming rights issues are not at play. So let me know your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one.